Super Baby 2 has been out for over a month now. So how good is he? How are we supposed to play him, and how are we supposed to fight against him? If you're curious about any of those things, or simply just want to understand him a little bit better so that you can improve your game, then this is the video for you. Before we get started, if you want to learn more DBFZ or other fighting games with me, consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out. First things first, what are his pros and cons? What does Baby excel at, and what holds him back? First, his pros. He has amazing projectiles, some of the best in the game. He has tracking, boomerang ki blasts, he has ki blast showers that he can control the destination of, and he has a beam. In addition to his various projectiles, he also has many strong neutral tools, including easy anti-super dash options and anti-air command grabs. He also has smothering round start options, amazing damage, amazing meter gain, seriously some of the best in the game, probably only challenged by Android 17. He has a great Oki with many very different types to choose from. He has above average level 3 knockdowns and multiple of them. He has unreactable command grab setups using his auto combo. He has unique corner mix-up taking advantage of corner vacuum situations and plus frames. He has a fantastic reversal level 3 that hits without a super flash and can be very difficult to safe jump. He also has 2 different types of tracking assists, which are both excellent. And he can steal the assists from the characters that he's KO'd, which leads to some pretty funny interactions. But what about his cons? Well, for starters, he has no fast low attacks. His fastest is 11 frames startup, which makes high-low mix-up weaker than average. He also has weird frame data, like a punishable 5L, but a very close to 0 on block medium. It just feels like upside-down frame data. He also has lots of character-specific combo routes, which can be frustrating to keep straight because there's just so many to learn. These aren't all necessary to learn, but if you want to be optimal, then you kinda gotta. He also might have a few very polarizing matchups, since so many of his strongest tools are projectiles, and some characters are perfectly equipped to deal with that. Let's get into what he does by talking about his neutral tools. First, his physical tools. His standing light attack is decent, and his auto combo is surprisingly bigger than it looks. For example, his standing light hits high enough to challenge most options after blocking a super dash, similar to Broly or Android 16's. Baby's auto combo is surprisingly a lot bigger than it looks. It might not be meme-worthy, but it certainly gets the job done. It even reaches far enough to make contact with opponents who backdash after Baby's vanish. It straight up removes that as an option. His stand medium goes far, but is a bit slow for neutral. His stand heavy, however, is huge, great for bullying his way in, and it also hits high enough to beat super dash if the opponent tries to scramble in the mid-range space with it. The corner carry he gets off this move is noteworthy, giving him full corner loops from roughly 2/3 of the screen away. His jump medium and jump light are both excellent air-to-airs. Jump medium is massive and excellent for left-right mix-up. It's basically Android 16's jump M. And his jump light is surprisingly consistent at sniping super dash, although this is a bit redundant since Baby has an even better option to do this. His jump heavy, however, is a bit weird, popping opponents up on a hit, but is still pretty easy to combo with. He likely won't use this much outside of combos. His quarter circle forward, light, medium, and heavy are massive, relatively fast, and can be used along with an assist to bully his way through neutral. The grounded medium version ground bounces in the corner and is a staple in many of his combos. The EX version ground bounces everywhere and gives extremely easy confirms from super dash and really good reward on average. Next, let's talk about his projectile tools, and there are a lot of them. First, his ki blasts. He shoots 3 at a time and they boomerang back to the opponent if they miss initially. They're easy to convert into vanish and can even combo into his forward heavy on hit. We'll talk about his forward heavy later in its own section of the video. It's important to keep in mind that the ki blasts don't return if Baby blocks or gets hit. His air ki blast feels particularly strong since they travel at a really great angle, and will continue along the ground if they don't reach their target before then. This angle is even capable of outmaneuvering Broly's ki blasts, and is in general just a really fantastic whiff punishing tool. Just don't be too predictable when you use these, and look out for super dash. Next, his forward ki blast. Baby steps back and fires a single Ki Blast. This one is unique because it boomerangs back even when it makes contact with the opponent on the way out. It's also a higher priority Ki Blast than most characters, so it's a great tool for winning the projectile war. Moving on, let's talk about his quarter circle back Ki Blast. This move is basically Yamcha's Mixer if it also shot out boomerang Ki Blasts and was meterless. It's invincible to airborne attacks very early on in its startup, which makes it an excellent tool for sniping Super Dash. It's also incredibly fast for how big it is, so it can be an excellent tool to use in scrambles and even at round start. Just don't use it without thinking too much, since the opponent can usually Super Dash punish it on reaction, even on block, assuming you don't have an assist available anyway. Next is Acid Rain. Baby can shoot Ki Blasts down from the sky at 3 different angles, depending on if you hit down back, straight down, or down forward. Unlike his other Ki Blasts, these don't track, so you'll need to choose where you want them to go. And just like all his other Ki Blasts, they go away if Baby ends up blocking or getting hit. To avoid this problem, pair his neutral tools with assists that help lock the opponent down, or be ready to beat Super Dash with an anti-air or reflect. Acid Rain in particular can feel tricky to use, since in addition to having to choose where it goes, it also goes away if Baby happens to block anything, including Super Dash, projectiles, and assists. But so long as he can avoid having to block, then this problem mostly goes away. Reflect and Vanish both feel excellent here, and Acid Rain can even be a useful way to cover a hard tag when you feel like you want to get Baby out. You can be surprisingly creative with Acid Rain so long as you avoid having to block the opponent. These options can feel gimmicky, but there aren't many options more funny than Vanish canceling your own Acid Rain and launching the opponent into it for a full combo. Even if you don't feel like you can anti-air the opponent in time, reflecting their Super Dash can still lead to big reward here. Moving on to Baby's quarter circle forward Ki Blast. If Baby didn't have enough projectiles already, he also has a beam. It hits higher than most, which is good for consistency when the opponent is airborne, but it is a bit on the slower side since he can't vanish if it misses. This is a bigger commitment than his other projectiles. More options are always nice to have though, and unlike his other projectiles, his beam can be used to jail into Vanish and possibly get his turn started. Finally, let's talk about his forward heavy. This is one of the most interesting ones. It can't be Super Dash through, and it lasts an incredibly long time. Luckily for the opponent, they can reflect in a few spots early on to keep themselves from having to block hard tag mix-up. What's really interesting about this attack is how long it lasts, even on hit. It gives enough time to hard tag into any character, get full corner carry, and a full combo. It lasts long enough for plenty of unique team synergies to be possible, like leveling up Adult Gohan while still keeping the combo going, or enabling Ginyu body swaps, or even setting up Nappa's restand mix-ups. Just don't rely on this tool in neutral too much, since Baby will commit to the entire attack, even on whiff. Luckily for him, he can combo into this tool from most grounded hits, including full screen Ki Blasts. And if you notice it gets blocked, he can cancel it into other attacks to prevent himself from committing to the entire move. But we're still not done covering his massive list of tools. Baby also has anti-air command grabs on the ground and in the air, his quarter circle back, light, medium, and heavy. The medium and EX versions give him a sliding knockdown and do solid damage. If your assists let you convert off the grab, then he even gets to keep his smash for the resulting combo. The EX version is especially noteworthy because it is frame 1 upper body invincible. This means he can punish any bad vanish with it or even try to escape the corner when the opponent goes for a safe jump. Next, his down light, medium, and heavy. This is the big one that most people associate with this character. Baby can use the assists of whatever character was most recently KO'd on the opponent's team. These assist calls do have startup and recovery on Baby himself, and are most comparable to using the Ginyu Force. He can choose to use their A, B, or C assist by using down light, medium, or heavy, respectively. The utility of these assist summons vary wildly between characters. However, C assists will always be useful due to how consistently easy it is to convert them into combos, and because most of them have a decent degree of tracking. Normal assist calls have a fair amount of cooldown before they can be used again, but Baby's special assist summon doesn't have this restriction. This means he can spam base Goku B assist to build tons of meter, or repeatedly summon Piccolo's orbs whenever they go away, or he can just throw out C assists one after another. And if you happen to KO a Ginyu, you can use his B assist to pretend you're Ginyu himself and rotate through the whole Ginyu Force. Regardless of which summons you have available, you'll probably have at least one that is suited to neutral, or suited to covering knockdown situations. I won't talk too much about how to use these stolen assists, because that depends wildly on which characters you're facing, but try to be creative when you use these in neutral, on offense, and for your sliding knockdown situations. Let's move on to Baby's offense. He has plenty of cool stuff here, but I don't want to get into all of that without first talking about his shortcomings. His biggest weakness here is his lack of a quick crouching light attack. This doesn't mean he is incapable of mixing up his opponents, but it does mean that he won't be able to simplify his offense so much that he can solely rely on an assist call into a 50-50 high-low mix, like many of the top tiers can. The other thing that will be tough to adjust to for his offense is his weird frame data. I don't want to call it bad because I don't think that's the best description for it, but it is weird. For example, his stand light is actually punishable on block by many characters, assuming Baby doesn't frame trap, of course. Meanwhile, his standing medium is actually only -1, which is pretty darn good for a medium, but he can't true block string into his stand medium. So I feel like the best way to describe his frame data is that it's upside down. It's just weird, but it's not all bad. For example, he has plenty of strong reflect-proof strings. Using his auto combo for this sort of thing is great because it's safe on block, converts into great damage, and has a variety of cancel options. And because Baby's damage, meter gain, and general reward is so massive for all of his hits, he does an excellent job of discouraging people from wanting to mash in the first place. So use those frame traps. And when the opponent finally gets tired of being exploded for disrespecting Baby, you'll need to finally work in some mix. So how can Baby mix? For starters, he has excellent instant air dash cross-ups mid-screen because of his massive jump medium. Be sure to work in some same-side super dashes whenever the opponent shows that they could consistently react to the mix-up. Like several other characters, Baby has a command grab auto combo. You can't just use it as is and expect it to grab the opponent, but if you pair him with a low block stun assist, he can make the grab connect. Mix in some frame traps instead of the grab sometimes, and you've got yourself a 50-50 that is very rewarding either way it hits. Baby can even set up this tick throw without needing a low block stun assist by using his acid. This can be a bit tricky to consistently do though because it requires pretty specific manual delays on the auto combo. Also, don't forget about the universal mix-up options like 6M overheads and Dragon Rush. If you do a solid job of using a wide variety of options in similar situations, then the opponent likely won't be able to look for everything. You don't need 50-50s to open someone up, although they do certainly help. In Baby's case, his neutral feels so strong that he gets many chances to open up the opponent. I don't know if this completely makes up for his lack of a fast low attack, but it's still very nice. In particular, his Dragon Rush feels very rewarding. He can build nearly 3 bars and do around 4,000 damage by himself with a Dragon Rush. This is pretty much unheard of in Dragon Ball FighterZ, and the damage only goes up if you toss in an assist or a vanish. He's probably the king of 2-touching right now, and that can put a lot of pressure on the opponent. Left-right mix is probably Baby's most consistent form of mix-up, and he can even do it in the corner too by using his forward Ki Blast, since it will always boomerang back around and vacuum the opponent out of the corner, assuming Baby doesn't have to block in the meantime anyway. Baby can be very creative with how he uses this returning Ki Blast. Here's just a few examples. He can go for very quick cross-up frame traps after the vacuum. He can convert his universal overhead into a full combo. He can set up a tick grab situation. He can fake out before the boomerang Ki Blast makes contact with a Dragon Rush. And if the opponent starts to get used to having to block cross-up, he can same-side super dash and get some huge reward for it. This character generally just has a ton of room to be creative, so if you are a lab monster or like styling on your opponents, he could be the character for you. Before we move on to Baby's supers, I want to talk about his more normal knockdown situations super fast. First, he can end any medium-sized combo in his jump down light for an easy sliding knockdown. In the mid-screen, this isn't amazing, but it's better than nothing. His medium grab is always a sliding knockdown as well, but since it makes him go the other way around, it isn't always ideal. If you ever find a combo where you take the opponent out of the corner, you can use this to put them back in. It's also great for canceling into other characters' supers who have better mix-up mid-screen than in the corner. Last, Baby is really good at ending combos in Dragon Rush, although you'll need to learn some more of his unique combos in order to do this. Trust me when I say it's worth it though. I will not be going in depth on combos here, especially since there is just too many routes to possibly cover in one video anyway, but I will give you the basics. The goal is to get into his corner loops on the ground, where he can do forward key blast, mixer, and then the key blast comes back and hits again, giving you time to attack the opponent again before the mixer's key blasts come back and also hit again. This is what lets him end his combos in Dragon Rush. The returning key blasts last long enough for him to easily make this work. To get the opponent back to the ground so you can do this, the goal is to make some of his air key blasts miss so that they can boomerang back around, but still have the third key blast connect with the opponent. This way he can cancel into the dive, then the key blast return, let him combo off the dive, and give Baby enough time to land his forward key blast and start the loops. Once Baby lands the Dragon Rush sliding knockdown in a combo, he has a few options. First, he can simply go for a normal meaty safe jump like any other character. Second, he can go for Acid Rain Oki. Down back plus key blast will shower on the opponent slightly after they wake up. Baby can reasonably react to whichever way the opponent techs, up or down, and the acid will let him keep the advantage. If Baby is worried about the opponent reflecting, he can hard call it out by using down forward key blast instead, which will go off screen and miss the opponent altogether, letting him get a full whiff punish on the reflect. Those are the basics. He can set up some more creative options, but these usually come with some drawbacks, like this setup. Looks cool, right? Well, the opponent can actually just hold forward and walk out of the corner. Bummer. You'll need to be creative to make something like this work at a high level, but the potential is definitely there. Have fun labbing. Let's talk about his supers real quick. First, his level 1. This does close to 800 damage, which is pretty average. What's great about this super is how it works even in the air and will track to whatever height is necessary for the combo. This lets him work with a variety of characters even when they might struggle to combo into a super themselves. Next, his quarter circle back light plus medium. This is his standard level 3. It works in the air and on the ground and gives him a long time to go for a mix-up after the hard knockdown. One unique thing about this super is that in a combo, it sort of freezes time, so it will very consistently confirm properly from most hits. This is the level 3 super that you get when you cancel from another character. Just be careful not to cancel too early or Baby will cut off your point character's supers early and prevent them from doing their full damage. Baby can also use his forward Acid Rain before the level 3 in some combos to steal the corner from the opponent. This gives him access to left-right mix-up in addition to all the normal stuff like 6M overheads and Dragon Rush. This isn't usually a true 50-50, but it opens up enough options that it becomes very scary to defend against. If you have an assist available, you can make the same side option incredibly fast by hard tagging instead of super dashing. Try it out, it's super strong. Next, his quarter circle back heavy plus key blast, the monkey super. This is by far his best reversal option if you want invincibility. Because it sort of catches the opponent's attacks, it is very difficult to safe jump properly, although it is still possible. It also hits behind him, so it's very tough to avoid. All of this on top of not having a normal super flash before it catches the opponent, which means if the opponent wasn't already blocking, then they will get hit. The knockdown is a bit better from this super than the Spirit Bomb super, giving him solid left-right mix-up all of the time. It also does increased damage when one of Baby's teammates has already been KO'd, similar to how GT Goku's level 3 works. The only downside of this super is how tough it can be to combo into, since it can only be done up close on the ground. What about his assists though? Well, Baby has two excellent assists that are both different types of tracking assists. First, his A assist is a fast version of his key blast, which still boomerang back around to the opponent if it misses. This feels fantastic for forcing the opponent to take a risk in neutral, for quickly converting hits, and for extending combos in unique ways. Obviously, it can be a bit weaker on offense since it is key blast property, but I feel that its strengths make up for it, similarly to Piccolo's Orb assist. Next, his B assist is just amazing. It's slow, but it's amazing. It tracks very consistently to the opponent like some C assists do, but without the C assist recovery. It's great for extending combos by bringing the opponent back to the ground, and the block stun is above average. The only downside of this assist is the long startup, and the long period of time where Baby could potentially be hit on the ground, leading to some unfortunate happy birthdays if he's too careless. If you're struggling to deal with this assist, I made a whole video talking about different ways to combat tracking assists. Link to that in the description. Finally, his C assist is a regular beam C assist. It's kinda slow, but hits a big area. It's tough to argue in favor of this assist when his A and B assists are so strong and with half the recovery, but it's still pretty good. Finally, what about his synergy? Who does he work well with, and who wants to have him on his team? For starters, let me say that almost everyone can make use of Baby's assists. They track, they're flexible in combos, and the B assist just has really good block stun. On the other side of things, Baby works well with almost any assist in the game whenever he's the point character. He doesn't need assists to deal great damage all on his own, but he can extend easily and with most assists if he wants to. When it comes to offense, he either wants high block stun assists to give him time to set up mix-ups, or he wants really low block stun assists in order to set up his tick grab. Personally, since I think Baby is fairly self-sufficient as a character, it might be best to think about which character wants his help the most. For example, characters like Vegito and Gogeta love assists that track high in the air. Nappa, Adult Gohan, and Ginyu all get their game plan started with his unique forward-heavy synergy. And characters like Base Vegeta and 21 convert their massive screen control tools into combos or pressure with his B assist. Baby definitely feels like he has a strong presence whether he's being used as an assist or if he's the current point character. But considering how much he helps other characters out, he might be best in a mid or maybe an anchor position. His flexibility with how he ends combos allows him to set up optimal level 3 mix-ups for other characters like 21. Personally, I like him best mid, but I think he works well in any position. By the way, this character has so much potential. He's by far one of the most unique characters in the game and could develop a lot in the coming year. I guess what I'm trying to say is that if something didn't appear in this guide, that does not mean it isn't possible. The sky is the limit with this character. And that's about it. I want to thank all of you who made it this far. Consider dropping a comment or a rating if you enjoyed the video. This one took me a lot longer than usual, mostly due to feeling overwhelmed by school and work, but better late than never. If you'd like to continue learning Dragon Ball FighterZ and other games with me, consider subscribing to the channel. There's plenty more on the way soon. Thanks so much for watching.